right, let's talk about the bugosphere, the NAZCA mummies, and how they might be connected to humanity. Let's connect some dots. Literally. Get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Okay, the revelation that the bugosphere is 12,560 years old, which has been confirmed by the university. Now, obviously, we need further tests. We need independent tests on that. But that is just jaw-dropping. That is epic, guys. As is the revelation that the writing on it seems to be Proto-Sanskrit. So we're going to circle back to that. But let's go over to the NAZCA mummies. I've talked a couple of times recently about this really intriguing specimen of the little guys, where he has this crazy thing in his forehead, right where you would think that, the pineal gland or the third eye would be. Now, some have argued that that's not a pine cone, that that's some sort of other seed or whatever. It would be more fun if it were a pine cone, because obviously the symbolism of that is directly tied in with the pineal gland and the third eye. Whatever it is, it shows possible significance that the NAZCA mummy culture placed on the third eye. The NAZCA mummy Maria also points to this possible importance that the NAZCA culture, the NAZCA being culture, placed on the third eye with this really intriguing implant. Yeah, right there. And that also shows a connection between the cultures of the little beings and the human-sized beings. They weren't independent groups. They did seem to share a specific culture, at least if they are the ones that put in these implants themselves, and it wasn't the beings that I believe created them, and that likely put the other implants in their bones and so on. But I'm prepared to believe that the NAZCA mummy beings may have put the ones in their faces themselves. But obviously, that's just speculative. There's also this little-known image of one of the NAZCA beings, posted by Lancelot Tavola, who posted so many of these. And yeah, it's got something in the third eye. Now, it's possible that is an injury or something, and it's also possible there was an implant there that was removed. I'm also a little bit suspicious of this particular specimen. It looks a lot like the other human-sized beings. However, its eyes aren't as obliquely slanted as Maria's and Montserrat's. You can see how Montserrat has this distinctive upward tilt of her eye, but it's not, super pronounced. And I guess there could be some specimens that had more horizontal facing eyes. But, it is food for thought. But it is very likely that the NAZCA mummy beings or their creators place some sort of emphasis and importance on the third eye. And of course, we have examples in human culture, in modern human culture, of humans placing the same sort of emphasis on the third eye. Specifically, we're talking about Hinduism, which began, as nearly as we can tell, about 4,000 years ago. It's a little murky. We don't have the exact dates on that. It'd be really nice to know those dates. But yeah, it began somewhere in that general time frame, and their culture places a distinct emphasis on the third eye, showing a possible connection between the NAZCA mummy culture in the people of India, a people that were speaking about Vimanas, who mapped out esoteric learning like Kundalini energy and also chakras. Now, I've had real-life experience with both of those. I've had my own Kundalini event, and it was amazing. And it showed me that, yeah, the Hindus knew some stuff. They had some deep knowledge that either they learned themselves or more likely was given to them in some way. They seem to have been in contact with something. What? Now, in the treasure trove of images and videos we have of the Citadel, the site where the NAZCA mummies were found, supposedly these are authentic. We don't know. There are so many sets and props in them, also distinct languages in them, that I think it would have been prohibitively expensive for a hoaxer to come up with without any particular reason to do it. They've already got alien bodies in there. I don't know why they would go through so much trouble to jazz it up to sell on the black market. I mean, huge props and sets, bodies. There's even videos of moving living beings. I'm prepared to accept that maybe some of those were faked by simply, artificially moving bodies that they had found to make it look more interesting than, it might have been. Although, dead bodies is pretty interesting. But I do think there's a lot of unanswered questions around those videos. And I think the images of the pyramid are really, really startling and really fascinating, especially because it's got this language on here. Here's a zoom in of the script on that pyramid. And you can see some interesting characters on here that you might recognize. These 3 lines, and also there is an H here. Hopefully my head isn't blocking that. There's an H here with a diagonal slash. And then you see those 3 lines again. And those 3 lines are also repeated at a different place in the Citadel. This is kind of a dark image, but I believe this is supposed to be one of the tombs where these bodies were found. And you can see there is writing on the sides of these tombs, and you can see these 3 lines. Now in the deciphering of the bugosphere, some of these characters show up, namely the 3 lines and the H with the diagonal slash. And by the way, the deciphering of the bugosphere has apparently been corroborated by another researcher. So that appears to be a legit deciphering of this language, I guess based on what they can, put together. It's the language is supposedly in Proto-Sanskrit, which was not a written language, but we do have the Indo-Aryan language, or the Indo-European language that was used by those people. When it got put down in writing. So, based on that, and I guess some other stuff, they've been able to assemble some sort of working knowledge of this language. And yeah, it's got the 3, it's got the H with the diagonal, and it also has 3 slashes. I'm pausing here so you can hear what she has to say about the H with the diagonal.
Then this symbol here is double. It is called K, and it means this movement.
Yeah, talking about, so this H symbol simply means doubling whatever came before. And so this is the character that came before talking about a particular movement, which is interesting. And here are the 3 lines. I don't know if you can see that. Here we go. Hopefully my big head isn't blocking that and you can see the 3 lines, which again are on the pyramid, supposedly at the Citadel, and also on the tomb, which is really interesting. So a possible connection between the bugosphere and the NAZCA mummies. Obviously, both of them, found in South America, which is interesting just by itself. But yeah, so they may be connected by this language, which has ties to Hinduism. And we know the bugosphere responded to a Hindu mantra.
Samsara saram bhujagendraharam sada vasantam hidriyaravinde vavam vamami sahitam namami Om Bhurvubhasvaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Vargo Devasya Dhimahi.
Yeah, that's about the expression I would make too. That's amazing. That's insane. What does that mean? So the sphere is still alive and still active and still responding to a Hindu mantra. Now, I'm really curious to see if it would respond to a Christian prayer or, a Muslim prayer or, something else. I don't think we should limit our test on it to Hinduism. Let's get some controls going, right? But that is super fascinating and suggestive, again, of a connection to Hinduism and of ancient India. Now, it's really weird, Proto-Sanskrit didn't come along until, 2 or 3000 BC, something like that. I'm a little fuzzy on the dates there. But that was, getting on to, 10,000 years after the bugosphere was created. If indeed the resin inside the cavities of the bugosphere that they've dated correspond to when the bugosphere was created. So we have this crazy triumvirate between the bugosphere, the Nazca mummies, and Hinduism. What the heck does that mean? But it doesn't end there, because we've got a pyramid. What's that connected to? There's not a lot of Hindu pyramids that I know about. That's more connected to Egypt and Atlantis and, all places all over the world, but not necessarily Hinduism. So is this more of a connection to Atlantis, which of course supposedly sank, according to Plato, about the time the bugosphere was created? And the bugosphere does reference a cataclysm and warns us of a possible cataclysm. I think the writing on it says something like, we've given you this place of peace and beauty and harmony. It's up to you what you do with it, whether you save it or destroy it. Oh, and by the way, there might be a cataclysm. Now, we don't have the full deciphering of the bugosphere, unfortunately. We just have, a shortened version of it that has been given to us, along with the meanings of the various symbols. But that's really suggestive of something connected to Atlantis. But there's also writing in the Citadel, supposedly, that looks like cuneiform. Cuneiform is one of the earliest known writing systems, says Google, developed by the ancient Sumerians in Mesopotamia around 3500 to 3000 BC. It uses a stylus to press wedge-shaped marks into soft clay tablets, which were then hardened. The term cuneiform comes from the Latin word for wedge. It was used to write numerous ancient languages, including Sumerian, Akkadian, and Babylonian, and evolved from pictographs to a logosyllabic script used for everything from administrative records to epic literature like the Epic of Gilgamesh. Yeah, which features a giant. Just tying it all in together, guys. Tying it all in together. So what the heck does it all mean? I wish I knew, guys. It definitely suggests there are some serious answers to be found in the ancient world to things that are still flying around our skies today, and also beings that might still be alive on the face of this world today. So let me know what you think it all means in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. Love to see you guys there. If you want to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, consider grabbing a coffee mug or a t-shirt in the merch store below. Become a channel member. Channel members are rock stars, just like Elvis, and they also get to see videos hours before everybody else. Meanwhile, there's plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.